Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Philip Norton here, just taking a look at some technical analysis and the breakdown of the chart of Boeing. For those of you who've watched my other videos, posted a few earlier today. Um, three of those on Chinese tech stocks. So going with Boeing is definitely a change of pace. However, I like to watch charts in all different um, areas of the market, and Boeing actually had something that jumped out at me today as I was reviewing it, and I felt it would be a good idea to kind of share that with everyone. And for those of you that have some pattern recognition, any of that have really studied charts before, you may already be seeing what I'm seeing on that. So today we will take a look at the Boeing chart on the weekly and the daily. Of course, it's quite an old chart, so the weekly gives us a little more clarity than all the jagged moves on the daily, but we will flip back and forth as we look at some more of the recent price movement in that. So taking a look first off at Boeing, we can see that it has really run up, right? So you're talking reaching up here in the highs in the 370s, 375-ish from just at the last fall, or the fall of 2016. So 2 years ago was at 127, in the 120s. So, you're looking at, 2.5, times at least growth in just a couple of years from a stock that, as old as it is and as long as it's been around is a heck of a movement, right? This isn't what normally people would consider a growth stock. But of course, Boeing fundamentally has been killing it, and they really are whooping Airbus's butt when it comes to producing planes. They have a backlog of like over a decade. I actually like to joke with Boeing is that you can buy Boeing stock and not have to worry about a recession, because even if there is a recession, they have so much order backlog that will be out of the recession before they, even notice, right? So kind of a joke there, but nonetheless, that doesn't really change the technicals. The fundamental story is always very important. I always kind of like to add that disclaimer, is that of course any bit of fundamentals or news can really change the trajectory of a stock. Those of you know right now we're in the midst of a trade war with China. So of course, if there is some announcement on the trade war, a stock like Boeing could really move up or down, right? An end to a trade war would be great for Boeing, and you could see that shoot to highs. Whereas, more tariff specialty things, maybe from China wanting to hurt Boeing, they could really do some damage in that, and you could see a big drop. So we'll of course push those things aside and not talk about what could or may happen from a fundamental or a news standpoint, and just look specifically at the technicals. So as mentioned, the stock huge run up over about a year and a half. In that, we had that big pullback, and of course this really coincided with all of the market, right? So as we went into January, that February time, we ran into some that early spring. The market really did have some pullback, and so Boeing was no different. We definitely had that pullback. It has then reclimbed up, had another pullback, and climbed up again. However, this really makes us the nice head and shoulders pattern. I say nice, but it's not nice at all, right? So shoulder, a little bit higher of a high here, and then a lower high in this second shoulder. So it's a very bearish pattern, which would mean that this sucker is going down in that. Now, of course, it's not all bad news if you guys, look at some of the trends, right? So we saw the pullback here, a stall with low volume, and before it made its way back up. Again, same idea. We've got this pullback and the stock here kind of stalling a little bit. So this stock very well could move back up, maybe consolidate a little bit and get out of the head and shoulders pattern, then break north. But from the looks of it now, it is very bearish. It's definitely something to watch in that move. And so if it does continue with the pattern where to look, of course, you can see here on the weekly VWAP at 320. I would actually, if you move to the daily, expect to see a move to the 200. So we do see that. If you notice, it hasn't really touched, this 200 daily moving average in a long time. And so a move back to the 200 would be that. And so right now it's sitting at 327. Similarly, by the time it got there, you're talking around 330. So not a huge move. You're looking at $8 to $10 drop in the stock before in that. So could have a nice little swing trade in there to get a part of that. And so to get in there. However, a couple of things to watch if you're looking to make that swing trade is from the price action. You'll actually notice if you put a nice little line here, basically right at where we're at today, you'll notice that we've had many closes and touches around this line, right? So right here in the upper, 338, 338, whatever you want to put it at, on this weekly. So it is definitely something that around this 338 point has seen a lot of price action. So while not historically a super long pivot in that, in the recent times we have seen a decent amount of price action around that. So it is a pivot. It could hold. Definitely breaking of that pivot and breaking below last week's low of right there at the bottom of 37. What is it? Actually 36.45. So breaking below 36.45 would be even more confirmation in that. And so, as you can go down. Of course, a move back up, the pattern would be done if you get all the way back up to 365 and a break there. Then that, of course, would turn things and you definitely get a little more of a bullish look. But really, I just wanted to put this together to show you guys that if you are taking a look at the chart currently, not only on the weekly are you below the 9 here, but you have really gotten a head and shoulders pattern in that. And so, I could definitely see it moving back down to the 200 EMA, or SMA, sorry, simple moving average, in the next couple of days. So something to watch. I'll probably put together a video here, I'd say next week, maybe in 2 weeks, just to kind of take a look back at where we're at from this point. But in the meantime, I would definitely think this is a good swing trade down to the 200, and we'll see what kind of price action we get from there and where we're going with that.